I do like making those signs. It's quite contemplative. Well, you'll see here, I'm out on the rocks. Tide's out. It's a little short. These exposes the rubbish. Man, the amount of plastic bottles and shit that washes up and just, it's, it's never ending, man. We can do better. We can do better. And I think we're starting to. It's probably what this video leans to, you know. There's a few people that have been 20, 30 years on the planet that, these millennials, they really don't have a clue. They don't know. I think they're further removed from the past and just the basic hardships of survival, of, the blessing, the simple blessing of having a roof over your head, somewhere to sleep, a bed, hot and cold running water. Most people in the West seem to take their standard of living for granted. Like, you live better than kings did 150 years ago. You know, sewers. Go back to London 100 years ago. They had to build the houses off the roads because it was just full of horse shit. But cars came and that problem went away, and you're seeing a lot of that now. You know, there's always innovation, and it sort of blows me away. I don't consider myself to be, an elder of any script, but I've been here since '64. Um, and I used to own a shop, and there was an old lady used to come in, and Lorna, and she sadly long past, man, but she was in her 90s. She used to come in every day, a piece of cake and a muffin, and her coffee and her chat. And to her, aeroplanes were just science fiction. She looks in the sky and just can't comprehend it. And you sort of, at the time you're thinking, oh, the old timers. But, here I am now looking, walk down the beach, and 80% of the people aren't even present. They've all got their head in their phone. No, here I am with my head in my phone. I'm not saying I'm exempt. And you can use it for trivia and you can use it for learning. It is a great tool. But, this, you go out to dinner and these couples not even engaging, man. They're just face to face, but their faces are down at their phones. This internet world has brought a lot, but gee, it's taken people away from reality. There was an editor to some newspaper in Australia. I think it was the Courier Mail in Queensland. Um, but there was a discussion about meat and some vegan or vegetarian, right? Oh, meat is murder. Why don't you go and get your meat at the supermarket like everyone else? You know, this is the state of mentality that some of the people live in, this absolute state of privilege. Um, as you get older, you learn a simple gratitude about those simple things. You know, if you've got money, you know, for spare to gamble or to do extra shopping, you're so far beyond privilege. If you've got enough for your basics and you stay in gratitude with that, you'll find a lot of peace. I was listening to a monk the other day, and they asked him about happiness, and he said, "I don't want happiness. I want peace." And I really couldn't agree more. Uh, he was basically mentioning, if there's happiness, there's sadness. That's the duality, the yin and the yang of the process. But peace is found regardless of the situation. And when you find basic gratitude in your simplest pleasures, I had a friend of mine long since passed, took his own life. He had lived in a state of wealth that was beyond comprehension, man. Most of you, just in an average earner in Australia, you're in the top money earners in the world. I think if you're on 38 grand, you're in the top 5% or something. So we're watching this whole internet thing just change everything for me. Things that accountants and bookkeepers and all that, that was always going to be here. So then you've got a whole generation, us Gen Ws, and many of their careers, they've built their whole life, and lucky for a few of them, they're all getting to 60, 65, and it's just in time. But you certainly wouldn't want to be at uni, I don't know, even doing things like law, medicine. Robots are doing surgery. It's got 3D printing houses. You know, so the question is, the question I've got is what happens over the next 5 to 10 years, and to me, and it's quite simple to see if you've watched the whole thing unfold. You know, I don't think digital ID is the devil. Got one. I've got a passport. They fingerprint me every airport I go through. And the fuck do I care? It's me. Nothing to hide. You're always going to have cash. But you've got to remember, as society evolves, and we stop sending this obscene amount of wealth that we have into the greeds of corporate entities that are doing God knows what with it, and then trying to manipulate our skies and our sun, etc., etc. You know, that whole thing you've got in America, where you've got billionaires basically, calling the shots. I keep touching on this. Billions is astronomical. Trillions, stop it. My 60-year-old brain can't get around trillionaires. It's just obscene, and to have, so as all these major investors, get rid of staff. I touched on it yesterday. Amazon 8,000, Nestle 16,000. There's plenty of jobs in mining and tradies. That's always, going to be required. That's what I've been saying for a while. If I was young, I'd be doing a trade. But certainly for the older generations, you're gonna watch pensions change and go up drastically, because their ability to play in this vastly changed, not changing, changed working environment is quite staggering. Let me zoom in here. I'll say 8 minutes. I do carry on. So you can certainly see what's going on under, and I do believe that we are being shown a movie right now. I really think the world changed 5 years ago. Remember COVID-19? It's 2026, 7 years ago. Tell any of you. Tell me, really, that long? Anyway, stay tuned for part 2. Peace.